you want to switch to the main camera? There we go. All right.
We're here.
Instagram. I'm sorry. We made you guys wait a full extra week, so we figured another 10 minutes wouldn't be that big of a deal. So thank you guys for joining us.
We're back.
Yeah.
And we're here with a table full of limited editions. And I think, like with anything, whether it's sneakers or booze or watches or cars, there's always going to be some kind of, you need to buy this one, it's special because.
Yes.
And then part of that is tied to the number of pieces.
Yep.
Part of that tied to maybe commemorating something, you know, in the case of like
Omega maybe.
I love that we both went the same place,
yeah.
Omega. Sometimes commemorating events from their own past.
Yep.
Collaborations with other dealers. There are so many different forms of limited editions.
Yeah, I mean, we have pieces on the table that are not technically limited editions, but because of the nature of what they are, who made them and how they're made, they're very limited just because they're so difficult to make.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's funny too, because if you think about limited editions within the context of their brands, it adds even another kind of fold into things. Because, you know, Omega made that James Bond Seamaster, and it was limited to 7,700 pieces. And it's like, you know, a brand like Longa only makes 5,000 a year.
Right.
So it's like their limited edition eclipsed the entirety of Longa's annual production.
Right.
Which is kind of nuts. But I guess there's more demand for Omega and a Seamaster in general, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I say with a question going up.
I mean, I don't disagree. First off, quickly, just to hit a couple of the people that are commenting, we're working on the YouTube stream. I promise you guys. That was actually why we were a little bit late. We have a couple of new pieces of tech that we're working to deploy. Didn't quite get there this week, but I promise you guys it's coming. So stay tuned for that.
It's tricky because Instagram only goes this way, and YouTube has to go this way. And so you can't stream both simultaneously through any of the devices we have yet to find. So
David, do you want to update
we're
that
working
title?
on that, but we're going to get there.
Do you want to update the title? Not ask us anything?
We're limited editions today.
So anyways, you guys, again, if there are any specific limited editions that you guys want to talk about, that you guys want to see, let us know. But like Rob said, we have a ridiculous amount of pretty crazy stuff on this table right now. So, and if you're out there and there's something specific that you see in this table that you definitely want us to talk about, drop us a comment, because we're not going to get to all of this. Because we started late, we'll do another episode maybe next week on, you know, to finish up what we miss. But there's so much to talk about. It's limited editions.
It's
can
loaded.
Be, yeah.
It's a real loaded topic because there's between brands and numbers of pieces created, what they're symbolizing, why they're making it. Is it related to pieces that are in the repertoire currently? Like all of these things. You talk about brands like Panerai. You know, you talk about a brand like Rwork, where really everything is limited because they only make so many pieces a year. So a lot of these. Who's asking and we're not answering? Sorry, we just got the feed up here.
So sorry, he asked about which Cartier it was. Why don't we start there, actually? Rob, do you want to grab that?
We can start with Cartier.
So this is a piece from the Pre Collection. This is a platinum cloche de Cartier. This came out, what, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now?
That sounds about right.
So let me pull up the details.
This is the modern collection Privé, which is not called like CPCP anymore.
Correct.
It's not Cartier collection
just
Privé.
Privé
I'm not
collection.
finding the focus point here.
Maybe go a little down. Go down.
Go down?
Yep, there it is. It's a little deeper. There you go, right there.
I got to be like
you got to be
low.
Table.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the new collection Privé from Cartier, but a design based off of something they made in the
20s.
Yep.
So
super cool watch.
100 total pieces. You know, so with the Privé collection, you know, a few brands are doing this now. You know, you have Vacheron with the Historiques collection, a few others. You know, Cartier is just going to really classic designs from their history. You know, pieces that have kind of become, you know, iconic designs for the brand, and they're giving them new life. So
I was about to ask you why is this a good limited edition for Cartier?
Why?
Yeah. you're the Cartier expert, so tell the people, why is this important?
Well,
Why do we care?
Look at that. First of all, it's, so again, cloche is French for bell. So, the case of the watch is shaped like a bell. And in the 20s, when this was originally released, it was actually designed to be a travel clock.
Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you could wear it, and then while you were traveling, when you're sleeping, you could put it on your bedside table sitting up like that, and it could be a tiny little bedside clock. So, it's
so
just
that
a super
is
interesting
noon.
design.
Noon is this way. So you have to reorient your thinking a little bit. It's like wearing a Vacheron 1921 or a Cartier asymmetric or something like that. You have to think about how you're telling the time. But I think they did a great job with this reissue. The strap is a little bit wider, which is really nice because on the old ones, like Justin's wearing today, the strap is super duper skinny.
Yeah, it's like a shoestring, honestly.
And which is cool in a vibey, different kind of way. Yeah. But I think in terms of mass market,
there you go.
Let me grab
so
that one
mine is So as we said, we had the Privé. This is the Collection Privé or Privé Collection, the modern one. Previously, in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had what's known as CP, so Collection Privé Cartier Paris. And then my watch is actually pre-Privé. This was a limited edition in 91 that they did of 200 total pieces.
They did some good stuff in 91. There was the 91 Crash.
Yeah.
There's the 91 Close. There's a lot of good stuff
Special
out there.
stuff.
So, excuse me, you can really see the difference here in terms of like the way they wear. And this it has that more modern feel to it. It's a little bit more polished. It's a little slicker, ruby cabochon and everything. But a brand that's been getting back to their heritage in an absolutely beautiful way, and I'm very much here for it.
And kind of like we said, when it comes to limited editions, we just so for reference, I have like a 6.5-inch wrist. So even for me, this original cloche is on the smaller side, but
but
I don't mind it. It doesn't fit me.
Because now they can see it totally.
So it fits me.
Man.
So 6.5. So it works. The newer one's a little bit too thick, just a little too big for me. It loses a little bit of the elegance.
I think you're also used to that.
I'm also used to smaller pieces. So
that gets you there. So naturally, if I think about a brand that's revisiting its heritage, in the case of Cartier, I want to go here next.
Okay.
And talk about Blancpain. Blancpain is a brand that doesn't get the attention it deserves today. I've probably said that too much for all of you who watch every week, but it's very true. And their dress watch offerings currently, I'd like to see some different things from them because some of the older stuff they made is so beautiful.
Yep.
But their modern sport watch offerings, I feel like, is where the brand is stronger for their modern pieces.
For sure.
If you're talking old Le Mans, then I'm into that.
Yes, we'll get there. Watch Eco, I promise. We will definitely show you that.
Yes, we will. So what we have here is the mil-spec 50 Fathoms tribute that they did. I believe this was the first 40 millimeter tribute that Blancpain did. Although not this particular one, because this is the Hodinkee version, which followed soon after.
Yep.
But this is a 50 Fathoms that they brought back into the 40 millimeter size.
Which is, honestly, this is perfect.
Because it's really difficult.
Well, next time we go to different cameras, David, actually, you want to switch cameras and go ahead. Yeah, go right ahead. Sorry, people.
So the 50 Fathoms was one of the first dive watches ever made, and people will argue about that non-stop. Is
that comfortable there, Rob?
Yeah, that's much better, and that looks sharper on the monitor.
Nice,
so that's good. Sorry, folks. So this is a reissue of the one that was made for military specifications, which is what mil-spec means. And you'll see this little dual-colored indicator at the bottom. This was a moisture indicator that was used to say your watch has been wet. It either needs service or you should get out of the water because your watch might not be reliable. And people were relying on these to save their lives. What makes this great is that it is 40 millimeters.
Right.
The modern 50 Fathoms is 45, and it's beautiful, but it's big.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've talked about this many times where I love the aesthetic of the 50 Fathoms. I love the bathyscaphe, a number of the different variants. Yeah. They're just all too big, and they're just a little bit too bulky on the wrist, which, to be fair, it's what they were designed to be. They were meant to be tools and strapped on over a wetsuit. but they were
40
right,
millimeters or 41, something like that. They weren't 45 back
But for
in the day.
Blancpain to bring back this 40 mil case
Yeah.
is where it should be. You know, they need to have this size in the rotation.
So I was about to say,
in
this
the catalog.
is where limited editions really frustrate me because I absolutely love this watch.
Yeah.
But these are like mid-20s at best these days.
I was going to say,
like
so we have this listed for $25,900, exactly.
Yeah,
So
which is a
it's
really
tough.
good price for these because a lot of these will go for close to 30K,
Yep.
like the NORADs and the Barracudas and things.
And for reference, you know, so it's 250 total pieces. You know, the
the
Cartier, the
Hodinkee.
Platinum, for the Hodinkee. So the Platinum Cartier, 100 pieces,
Yeah.
you know, very limited. This 250,
The
which honestly
standard
is very
one
limited as well.
in the shiny case with the date is 500, I believe. And then when they
Yes.
did this Hodinkee version, they only did 250. So that's a small number of watches. And, you know, I think because of the fact that they haven't overproduced these and the iterations that they've made, they made the NORAD, they made the Barracuda.
Yep.
They're different enough from this that all of them have held up really well.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I think I give Blancpain huge credit
Yep.
for doing a phenomenal job with that. Because if we go to the elephant in the room,
You're going to go directly there now?
you want to bury the lead?
I think we bury the
and
lead.
that?
Come on, everybody expects
right.
us to talk about
So,
that. I think we're
the
going to
elephant
let's
is
go
off camera for now.
Let's go this direction. So, Watch Eco, this is the Kari Voutilainen. David, give us the nice tight close up here. So this, let me pull up the details on this. This is incredibly limited. This is this is actually a piece.
I was going to say,
this is a piece unique.
you can't get any more limited than this.
So Kari Voutilainen did an 8-piece limited run of stainless steel, of this watch in stainless steel. It's the 217 PQRS, I believe. And each one had a unique dial. So this one, you know, we've previously, several years ago, we sold one that was a silver dial with some red and blue accents, and I think 3 different types of guilloche. You know, very, very beautiful, very interesting. But then this piece, this dial is absolutely insane.
This is art.
Completely.
This is art.
You know, so fully hand engraved by Kari himself. You know, it's amazing, and this is an interesting piece from Kari. Anyways, it's the retrograde date. So you know, you have running seconds down at 6. You have the main time, and then it's kind of tough to see, but that outer ring that you see running from just below 12, that silver ring, that's the date. And then there's a retrograde hand. Actually, Rob, what you can do, so what I would do is push that crown in, and show them the quick adjust. So push the crown. Nope, just push the crown in. Just there you go, and that will advance that retrograde date hand forward.
Sorry.
We're trying.
To keep it steady. There we go. You can see it moving. Small scale stuff, but
and even even kind of like another little like twist on this. So normally with a retrograde, when you get to the end of whatever is being retrograded, that hand usually snaps back pretty violently, from either 31 to 1 or end of the month, end of the week, whatever. This one has a special system that Kari designed that enables the hand to glide back from 31 to 1, and it's really interesting and it's really special. This is just an insane piece, like completely insane.
I mean, and we've seen a few Karis. We've never seen anything like this.
No.
This level of artistry on the dial and detail and stuff is just, this blows a lot of that stuff out of the water.
Yeah. So this was made, again, this was the 30th anniversary of Manfredi Jewelers in Connecticut. Kari, has a relationship with them, and made these pieces, and they sold before they even basically announced them to the public. Yeah. So this one's available for I think $239,500 on our website titanium? Right now. No, it's stainless steel. It's stainless steel.
Super light. So I mean, either way. And it's a great case. I love the lugs, everything about it.
Yeah, if you want. Go ahead.
What an interesting thing to talk about a limited edition within that framework, because it's like everything he makes is limited.
Completely.
How many watches does he make a year? Like, it's all limited.
Less than 100. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. So again, so $239,500 on our website. You should be able to find it if you go, just search for Kari in the search bar of our website. We have ridiculous photos, tons of details and stuff. So
came out really nicely.
Gorgeous piece.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go next, Rob?
So let's do a hot take.
Okay.
And let's talk about this.
Okay, cool. I like that.
let's talk about this. So we've gone from something that is completely unique in every way and has a lot of intrinsic value to it.
Of course,
there is extreme high-end
handwork,
watchmaking there. Right, there's extreme high-end handwork in the dial. Everything about that watch is remarkable and spectacular. Now, not to say that this isn't, but this is a very different case. This is a Patek 5167, which is a wonderful watch. There was a time when I really wanted to own one of these because I think in terms of Patek sport watches, this is actually one of my favorite ones that they make. I would take this over a Nautilus, which is a hot take.
That is a hot take.
That is a hot take in and of itself. I'd be hard pressed between this and the travel time, but to me,
but again,
it looks so good.
But why is this one special?
So why do we care, right? Let's see. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it?
Let it focus.
It's at the bottom. It's real small. There's a lady's name on the dial. It says Tiffany & Co. at the bottom. Tiffany and Paddock have had a really long-standing relationship. I believe they were one of the first
retailers in the U.S.
of Patek Philippe. And because of that, Paddock at the time gave them permission to stamp the dials of some of the watches that they sell. I have heard that they stamp 1% or something. They only allow 1% or something like that.
Honestly.
So it's a very small number of total production, not of each model.
No, that's
of
what
total production.
That's what I'm saying. I think it might be even less than that.
They stamp 1% of the watches that, or no more than that, something to that effect. And so this is co-signed, which back in the day was a very common practice. To co-sign a watch. So you would see things co-signed by Bayer.
Serpico Lino from, Venezuela. You'll see Gublin. I'm trying to think of what else we've seen actually.
And we've seen some modern ones too. What was that German one?
On the Speedmaster?
No, there was another German Patek we had.
German Patek.
Started with an H. We'll think of it eventually.
Houseman.
Yeah. Yes. See? I got you halfway there.
Yikes.
So we had the Houseman Paddocks and things, but it almost doesn't exist today. You know, you don't see Tiffany stamped Rolexes. You don't see, like, UG used to do it too.
I mean, really, the only ones that you see are Tiffany stamped Paddocks at this point. So it's interesting that practice has carried on, and Paddock has, first of all, allowed Tiffany to continue doing that.
It's huge. It's huge
Yeah.
because nobody else has that privilege.
Right. So super, super rare. To get one from Tiffany, you needed to have an extensive buying history. You basically needed to be approved by Tiffany to be given the opportunity and the privilege to buy, a stamped 5167.
Yeah, you can't just walk in and get one out of the case.
No.
Right? It's going to take some time.
Right.
My question to all of you who are watching by a show of your digital hands, is it something that's important to you? Do you put that 2x value on that Tiffany stamp of the dial?
Well, here, I was going to say, I'm going to tell you exactly what, price differences essentially are. So, we have the Tiffany stamp 5167 listed for $103,500, and a standard 5167 right now goes for around $60,000.
Yeah.
So, it's not quite 2x, but it's not far from it. So,
it's an interesting thing.
Is it worth it? Yeah.
Because it is a standard 5167. The
Completely.
Everything about it is lock stock. But there is that element of exclusivity.
Right.
Whether it's in a colorway, whether it's in, a size, in the case of 40 millimeters versus 45, this is exclusive. I mean, at the end of the day, 90% of you can't have it.
And that was going to be my point, is that if I am, Joe Billionaire, and I have all of my Paddocks, the 5167, yes, it's an incredible piece. Yes, it's a Patek. It's hard to get. It's expensive. But when you're playing in, that tax bracket, it's not that special. It's just like, it's funny. I've told the story of, my wife and I were traveling in Italy, and we were at, a coastal resort, and it was full of old European men, and all I saw on all of their wrists were aquanauts. Like, everywhere you looked was either a Nautilus or an aquanaut. So it's almost just like the go-to summer sport watch that I throw on to go hang out at the beach. You know what I mean? If you're in that certain. So if you are at that level, this is this makes sense. Like, this is just like it is a normal everyday piece, but it has that little something extra that you don't have. You know what I mean?
And I can totally understand from the point of view, I come at it from wanting to kind of be on the understated side of things.
Yes.
And to me, I think it's very cool that it almost looks like you just have a normal 67.
Right, until you look closer.
Then anybody who knows will be like, oh, wow.
Right.
That's
right.
cool.
That's
like,
special.
You've got a Tiffany stamped one.
Right.
So I could argue both sides of this all day long.
Easily. We
I
could go for hours on that one watch.
Just like with any of this stuff on the table, it comes down to what's important to you.
Sure.
Right? Like for some people, the movement is more important. For other people, the aesthetics or the case or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of ways to look at watches in general. But that's always like a real hot button issue. And I saw a lot of people
I was just gonna say I'm going back through the comments. Some people are saying not even close, no way. Other people are saying, you know, it's pretentious if you wear it and you tell people that it's a Tiffany stamp, which agreed. Like, please don't ever do that. Just like be cool about it. Act like you've been there before. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what
this is? Andres, I agree on your Breguet. That Tiffany & Co. at the bottom is incredible. Like that makes that
Tiffany & Co. Breguet.
Yeah, he purchased it from us maybe a year ago.
We had a Tiffany & Co. Breguet.
It's a skeleton Breguet Classique.
Oh yeah,
insane, super
I
cool.
do remember that.
Super cool. That piece is awesome. Yeah. So hot button issue.
Yeah, but see, you think about that piece, like that skeleton Breguet co-signed by Tiffany, and it's like, what? Where did that even come from?
I love that kind of stuff
That's
because
so cool.
That and that's kind of like. Honestly, when I was first getting into watches, you know, vintage was kind of like my gateway. And looking through all of those pieces with names of these retailers that I had never even heard of, you know, again, like Serpico Alino and, you know, Houseman and a number of other ones that you see on these dials from watches from the 60s. And it just, I'm a sucker for a good story. So like I have a soft spot for Tiffany Paddocks because I love to know that history and, you know, why they're still allowed to do it and why nobody else does it and how it started. Like that, I love that kind of stuff.
And that's why I say this is a really interesting issue to go back and forth on, because I think you could change your mind 8 different times just discussing it with somebody else if you really look at both sides and try to weigh it.
Yeah.
So it's a funny thing. I think they will always be more valuable.
For sure.
That will never ever change. It will always be a value-added thing. It's always going to be exclusive. One day that relationship
I was going to say, when that relationship does end, which could be sooner rather than later, watch out, because Tiffany stamped everything.
Then it's a big deal. And it's funny because like for the Bayer and Google and stuff, not so much, but who knows? Yeah. Anyway.
Those are significantly rarer. There's far fewer, like the Bayer 5170 and all those pieces. Anyways, okay, we're gonna move on. We should go to that. We should go to this.
Oh, I like that point as our final kind of send-off to this. It's like a Michael Jordan signed rookie card. And that is kind of cool because like you have the MJ rookie card versus somebody who has the one that was signed by the man himself.
Sure.
That's a cool thing to have. So it's like, yeah, you could have the Paddock, or you could have the Paddock that's been retailed and stamped by their oldest U.S. dealer.
True.
Well, I like that.
You know what's funny too?
Good point.
Because we've sold Paddocks before that have, you know, when you look on the cert and it's stamped Tiffany & Co. But the dial is not stamped.
Because they're not allowed to stamp
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're right. That is a little interesting.
Awesome. I really appreciate that somebody argued the positive, and I am with you now. Thank you.
I think we should go with the Rolex, and
because it's the same.
The same.
It's the same idea. It's like if I show you this watch.
Yes.
You would be like, that's a GMT.
But even more so than the Aquanaut, this one, if you showed that to someone, if you were wearing it on your wrist, no one would have any idea whatsoever that this is and I guarantee people out there on the internet right now are saying, Rolex doesn't do limited editions. What are you two idiots talking about?
Yeah, and half of that statement would be correct. Although it is true, Rolex really doesn't do limited editions.
They don't.
So what is this watch? Why do we have this on the table? Anybody who's been on our website and pays real close attention will know that this is the Sea King.
So, again, one of the only truly limited edition pieces that Rolex has done. You know, I've seen the, I believe it's the specific department of the Italian police that has the octopus on the dial, the tiny little, super cool.
I do not know about that, but now I am super curious.
Yeah.
Is it a Spectre dialed?
It looks like it. It looks like
Rolex?
But so this is the Sea King. So 123 total pieces. it was actually, it was made in collaboration with a specific division of the UK Special Forces, and it was only made available to active duty members of that specific brigade or whatever it was.
It's Special Forces of the UK, right?
UK, yeah, exactly. So, you see it on the back. You have, on that case back, you have that engraved, image of the helicopter, and I think the frogman. Just super, super, super special, super rare. And again, it's on your wrist, and no one has any idea what it is. How special
nobody would
it
never
is.
know. But this again falls into that same category of you can't get this because they only offered this to the members.
So even more so than say the Tiffany Paddock, where you need to be like approved to buy it.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I'm sorry, you're not a member of the UK Special Forces.
Right.
You can't have that. You can't
it's
buy
like,
it.
It's like if Jaeger said, "Oh, you're not a Navy SEAL, you can't buy this watch."
Right.
Right. Like that's really hard because Navy SEAls are such a small, tiny group of people, and this is obviously the same thing.
I mean, and they made 123. And again, like this is, even more. This is kind of like the modern incarnation of, say, like a vintage Blancpain 50 Fathoms or a TR that has, all of the military markings or something like that. It's a real tool watch that was made specifically for a group that is known for wearing them. Yeah. And only given to them or only made available to them.
Super cool.
Ridiculous.
And Henry Lee had raises a great point. Is the Rolex Dominoes original from Rolex? That was issued by Rolex, and the modifications to that watch were done by Rolex.
The dial, yes, and then now
the
you
original
have
ones with
on
the
the
dial,
bracelet now.
right, and the ones that have the emblem on the bracelet. So those.
That is another one.
Hey, hope you are enjoying the bourbon.
Thank you. We were gonna call you out. So sorry, I have your card over here. So John Jabrea, thank you very much. We're drinking some old Louisville whiskey, which was gifted to us very kindly by John. So thank you very much, man.
Cheers,
we
John.
are enjoying it. So
yes,
appreciate
lovely.
it. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.
Hopefully you guys out there are enjoying something as well. All right. Yeah. Anyways, so.
A very cool piece. A very cool piece. What is the price on that? Because somebody asked.
So we're at $49.5 on that right now, which is, again, for a Rolex GMT steel, yes, that is more than the norm.
Right.
But to be honest, for a watch from a brand that does not produce limited editions, and unlike, say, Omega, who does 7,000 piece limited editions, this is a 123 piece limited edition. So incredibly rare. This one has everything, tags, still stickered, honestly, all the paperwork, everything. So super cool piece. What's that?
Boston Collector said there is an Explorer 2 limited edition for British Special Forces. Wow. He who dares wins. I'd love to get my hands on that.
I would love to even see that.
Because I love the Explorer. It's my favorite Rolex.
We both own one, yeah.
We both had a 2.
We both had a 2.
Both currently have
we both
a
now
1.
have Explorer 1s.
We are the same person.
We're just, we both have 2 halves of one brand,
basically. That's a cool watch.
Yeah.
And I think because Rolex does it almost, as infrequently enough to be never, it lends so much more weight.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
For sure.
So that's a cool piece. And I think if you look, you'll find auction results with that thing in the 50s and the 60s.
Yes.
And it looks like a lock, stock, standard GMT, which is so cool. And this one's it's got all the stickers on it. Yeah. It's like brand new,
hang tags, everything.
This is the best one you could ever buy. It's very cool. I'm surprised we haven't sold it, but I think it's because it's one of those where it's just such a sleeper.
Yep.
You really got to be in the know.
Yeah, you should be looking for it.
All right.
I think we should go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum now. Why don't we talk about what you wanted to jump to earlier?
Sure, the elephant.
Let's go the elephant.
The elephant that is Omega.
When you talk about limited editions, how can you not talk about Omega? The brand makes how many hundreds and hundreds of limited editions in editions of thousands of pieces.
Yeah, well, everything from stuff that is a couple hundred pieces to stuff that goes all the way to 7,000 piece limited editions, which is
honestly, I kind of want to ask the internet's opinion right now, because I know how you and I feel about it. Mm-hmm. How do you guys feel about specifically Omega or any brand that creates limited pieces in thousands and thousands and thousands of edition runs? Like, does it cheapen things for you? Does it lessen the impact? Do you care? Like, I don't know.
So let's switch. Oh, that's a funky monkey. Let's switch to the top down here, and let's talk about these two first.
So we grabbed very, very different Speedmasters.
Well, I was going to say, what I really like is that if I put these two next to each other, these are both Speedmasters.
Right.
But we could not have gotten farther, like two more disparate examples than these two. We've got the original Snoopy, Silver Snoopy, which has a great story behind it.
Incredible.
It has a very cool, like, I think they tick a lot of boxes with this, because if you're a fan of space and exploration and all of that, like the Silver Snoopy Award is very cool. What it stands for, why it's awarded is very cool. And the fact that they did this with almost a standard moon watch is great.
What was it?
The Snoopies have always been...
1,700 or something? How many pieces did they do of this?
They have made... This first one they made 5,441.
I thought it was so much
They made
fewer than that.
1970 of the silver one, the silver dial, and then the blue one is unlimited, which is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's different.
But this is a cool one. This one we actually see the fewest of. We see more of the other ones, even though there's the most of these. That's really bizarre.
It is very strange, actually.
So you have this, which anybody who knows anything about watches would be like, yo, that's a Speedmaster. And we'd be like, you are correct. But then we have this.
This one is also, honestly, super interesting. So this is...
Oh, that's not fair,
What?
Sal. Swatch continues to molest the Omega brand.
Oh, my gosh. That's a little much. That's a little much.
You know, the whole Swatch thing and the moon swatches and everything, I own a moon swatch. It's fun. I really enjoy it. I think it's an awesome gateway drug for guys who might not be watch heads yet.
Agreed.
And then they buy that, and then it's a real slippery slope.
So it's the Rory McIlroy. So they made it,
which is kind of weird, because what does a Speedmaster have to do with golf?
Exactly.
You can't play golf on the moon.
Well, and so this is are you for real right now?
You can't
Have you
play
ever
real
seen?
golf on the moon.
Yeah, you can't play.
You can hit
you
it
can't
and
play
it's
18,
gone,
but I'm pretty sure
but you
Neil. I'm
can't,
pretty sure
like-
Neil hit like a 4-iron or something. Like,
Yeah, it's probably out, out in deep space at this
anyways,
point.
but I do agree. This is another one of my beefs with Omega is if you're going to make all these limited editions,
Alex,
make
can
them
you grab a
actually
UV light?
mean something. Like this doesn't really have any connection between Rory McIlroy and a Speedmaster, but so
Well, this is also funny too, because this watch, to me, I almost don't even think of this as a Speedmaster. When you get into these coaxial automatic movements,
Yes.
it's a great chronograph from Omega. They give you, it's always tough with a bracelet, but I'm going to try. They give you a really beautifully finished coaxial Omega movement. It's really lovely. Everything on it is great. But to me, it gets so far away from the Speedy Pro that I don't look at this as a Speedmaster anymore. I look at this as just a chronograph from Omega. And I appreciate it and love it for that, but taint a Speedmaster.
Did you ask him to grab a UV light?
I did.
Perfect. There you go.
I did.
All right,
Because
so
this watch has a secret.
when Rory McIlroy was 16, he shot a 61 at Royal Portsmouth, which was his home club. It was the course records. It's kind of like part of Rory McIlroy lore at this point. And if you look, so actually both of those two subdials, the black part is designed to look like the spike of a golf shoe. And then if you look in, Rob was trying to show,
I'm going to get that seconds hand out of the way. Let me wind it so it has some more
in that
power.
subdial at 9 o'clock, you have 1661 that lights up under a black light. Why you would be blacklighting your gold Speedmaster, I don't know, but
And it doesn't actually, there's no glow there. Like, you can actually see the loom glowing, but that's purely a parlor
It's
trick. And they
so
did it
weird.
again on the Ultraman, which
They
I
did.
really like.
Yeah.
You can switch that back. They did that on the Ultraman, which I think was really cool and nifty. And they gave you a little UV pen light in the box,
So you can
which
see
I
the
thought was
Martian or
very
whatever,
cool.
yeah.
So, I mean, if I look at this objectively as a gold Speedmaster, it looks really cool.
It does.
It's beautifully made. Like, the movement's great. Everything about it is wonderful.
It just doesn't make sense as a Speedmaster.
I also I'm not a golf guy, so like for me, it's like it doesn't speak to me. I'm not the customer for this watch, so
Sure.
I don't know how to comment on it because like I know who Rory McIlroy is, but it's not my bag, right?
But it's also interesting to
It's just like the race car drivers in RM, like
that's
the
cooler.
Montoya
That's cooler though.
and
That's
the
cooler.
whatever. Like,
That's way cooler.
but to me, I look at it as an aesthetic watch and I say, that looks cool,
Sure.
that doesn't look cool, whatever. And to me, whoever's name is on it really bears little consequence.
I mean,
like,
I'm
what
not
was
going to
the
go
one
out.
we had? Was it Bahrain's?
Which one?
That
For AP or
RM6702,
RM6702?
the TPT that we had that was like insanely light. That was for somebody. That one there.
Oh, we had the Sebastian Ogier. So,
Ogier.
who was the French rally
I
driver.
wouldn't know the guy if he hit me with his race car, right? Like, I don't know who he is.
Okay.
But I would wear that watch.
Well, because it's super cool.
Because it stands on its own. Like, it doesn't matter if you like Ogier or not.
Sure.
Right? It's a cool watch.
Well, but so I think what you're getting to is that watch was designed actually for him, and it was inspired by adding lightness, exactly, and what was important to Ogier and what made him successful.
Right.
So that was more, form following function as opposed to the Speedmaster.
This, I guess this is like the people are laughing at us. Why? Is it me?
Because we're going all over the place. Whatever.
This to me, I guess this is like the green jacket, right? This is
How?
like. It's the gold trophy. It's like you did it.
I like
Hooray,
that.
here's a gold watch.
I like that.
So I guess I kind of get that, but like the golf cleat thing, I don't know.
I don't get it.
It's lost on me. I'm buying this Silver Snoopy all day long, and even the soccer stadium here,
So
I think is kind of cool.
And that's from the Rio Olympics as well, which I don't know. I don't necessarily get again, I understand why Omega is the official timing partner for the Olympics, so it makes sense to do these kinds of limited editions.
They've been for like decades, right?
They've been since like the 40s or something, or maybe 50s. I don't remember. But yeah, it's been a long, long, long time. But at the same time, like, who is buying this watch because it's the Rio edition? Like,
I couldn't believe it when you told me that this was for the Rio Olympics, or I saw the box or something, and I was like, no way. And then you see the back, and like, sure enough, it's an Olympic watch. This makes no sense to me. And again, like, I actually think it's very cool. These Speedmaster, I call it the soccer stadium because this case looks like a soccer
barrel,
stadium.
It's
Mark II, so right? Cool looking. It's a Mark II Speedy.
Yeah.
And I love the 70s vibe. I love the bracelet. I love everything about this watch. I would wear it based on its own, but it doesn't. Like, the fact that it's connected to Rio does nothing for me. I think the Tokyo ones are kind of cool.
But I also think that these are, they're a prime example of a limited edition that is not going to necessarily hold. The value is not going to be tied up in what it is commemorating. There are some limited editions that what they're commemorating actually does add value. Yeah, I saw all that stuff, guys. We'll get to it. That there are certain ones that whatever it's commemorating does add value. What are you pointing at? What?
Your customer Andres is really funny.
Oh man, Andres. Hey, buddy, I'll make you a great deal on that Hublot. Get at me, man. Get at me. All right. Yes, Henry Lee, agreed. Exactly. Design is always more important. The special edition should be a bonus, or agreed.
But if it resonates, that's even better.
Yeah.
Right. Like when it's about something that
has meaning.
Yeah, it's really good. I like that. I think if you can strike that balance where it's like, man, I really like where this comes from, and I like what it is on my wrist.
Yes.
You've won the lottery in that case.
Agreed. All right, let's jump over to Longa. We're running out of time, so we do have a number of really interesting Longas here on the table. This is worth showing. This is what somebody was just asking for. So Honeygold ZEIT Decimal Strike, really just...
So the ZEIT in and of itself, to me, is a very special watch. Agreed. Because it almost makes like no sense. Like in the beginning, if somebody showed you that watch, you'd be like, what is this? And then you hear about the story of, we just lost the top now. Turn that guy back on. You hear about the story of the Dresden Opera Clock and where that came from and everything there. And it's like, wow, that's really cool. What incredible inspiration for a watch. And then to see how they executed it.
Well, and then to take that design and, that engineering and then add this decimal strike to it, which we talked about for how long about what a decimal strike actually is. And we played with it, and I still don't even really totally understand. But
yeah, it's not a repeater.
Correct.
What? Dial looks like a fat baby. I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
I'm getting a lot of glare. I'm sorry, folks.
Right
I'm not sure why. It's like it changed when it turned off. Can I find a way?
There you
There
go.
we
Perfect.
go. That'll
Nice.
work. All right. I don't need to be well lit. Nobody wants to look at me anyway. But this is really, really cool. So this will strike at the top of every hour, and it will strike every 10 minutes. And it doesn't give you a like chime in the way that a
minute repeater.
minute repeater would. It doesn't chime the time on demand. It solely goes to show you it. We're gonna have to wait too long. Oh,
No,
there
you
was a chime.
have to wait 30 seconds, 50 seconds or whatever. But yeah,
We can wait the 50 seconds,
Yeah.
but it chimes as it goes. And it's a very cool concept. It's not as expensive as a minute repeater, which I think is really cool. This version is in honey gold, which is a Longa proprietary alloy that's really, really awesome.
somewhere between white gold and rose. You know, it's very subtle. They made 100 pieces in honey gold, so
Yeah.
it's actually very rare.
And this to me is the perfect example of taking a watch that's in your catalog, making it extra special, but still keeping the essence of that watch alive.
Yes.
This is still a ZEIT work in every way, but this is a ZEIT work like you've never seen.
Well, here, if you want to show a ZEIT work like people have never seen, I think you
Hold
need
on,
to go
hold on.
immediately to.
there
There
it
you
was.
go.
So you just get this little ping every 10 minutes.
So
That's
every
really
10
cool.
minutes.
Keep it
and
on
we'll-
the top
Yeah,
down.
keep it on the top
there.
down, David.
We're going to
All right,
go
so
to
here we're going to the ZEIT work.
amazing ZEIT work number 2.
ZEIT work Ghost. So this is the first Lumen, limited edition of 100 pieces. I can
This was
look
the
up
first thing they luminized,
This
right?
is the first Lumen, yeah. I'm gonna look up the date because I don't remember
Buffalo
what year
Bill,
they did.
great username, was asking to make it chime. I tried. You're not really going to hear it here, unfortunately, because these mics aren't that sensitive. But we can try to get a video of that. It's also a single chime. It's not a repeater where it goes for a
Right,
while.
you only get one.
So this was the first watch
Yep.
that they luminized,
So
where they
this
did
was
the
in-
smoked
This
sapphire
was
dial.
2010
Ah.
platinum case.
And we're prepared.
Oh yeah, here we go. There we go. Oh, you got to do it at an angle. It's not gonna really show up that well, but
Yeah, it shows up great. Look
So
at
you-
all the business underneath that's now lit up.
yeah, with that smoked sapphire dial, you just get to see everything, you know, on those digital hour and minute discs. It's gorgeous. It's
That's
such a cool piece.
It's so cool.
And then here, why don't you just show this one as well? Because why we can't?
Is this also a lumen?
Yeah,
How many lumens do we have?
we have a few lumens right now.
How do we get these wonderful toys?
So this is the
Oh.
Datograph lumen right here. So another just incredible piece from Longa. This honestly, like I love the ZEIT work, but I think the Datograph lumen might be my favorite of the lumen family.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you can have it.
I
would.
go
take
back
the-
and forth. Like I mean, first of all, that's easier to wear.
I would take the ZEIT work. Yeah, but the ZEIT work is just so much cooler. Like, this is
I
cool.
love just the standard ZEIT work. You know, just the classic white gold black dial. I think if I was gonna have a ZEIT work, I'd
Watch the
prefer to
stuff
have
move
that.
a
And
little
I
bit
exactly see like here you get even more to look at with the big date.
I mean, this
and-
wins on this side.
of course.
Like, this is better
Incredible.
than this. Can I do it without dropping it? But this is, I don't know. There's something about the ZEIT work. Like, you can't get this from anybody else. Oh, upside down. Nobody makes anything even remotely close to how cool this is.
I was actually so earlier this week. So I've really wanted a jumping hour. It's like I
You
need.
should have bought that Breguet.
I should have brought that
Some
Breguet, I
customer
know.
is smarter than
I
you, and he
know,
owns that watch now.
I know. Oh, I need one though. I gotta find something. I was down a Xiaomi rabbit hole. I was going all over the place looking for.
Xiaomi.
Have you ever seen those?
For real?
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. I'm.
Are these two both available? Are these
Okay.
available?
So these will be available in probably the next 3 to 5 business days. We're finalizing the listings and everything, so they're keep an eye on the website. They'll be there soon. Yeah, they're incredible. Where
I
should we
think
end?
we got
Where-
time for one more.
Exactly.
Yeah, you and I are thinking the
Let
same
me look.
thing.
Let me look. Let me look.
Guys,
Guys, is there anything on the table that we haven't talked about that you desperately want to see? Because we could go a couple. We have a.
Now's
we have,
the time.
We have AP.
Let's do this.
We have.
real quick rapid fire.
Okay.
Give me the top down. Here we go. Something very cool and a very good friend of mine and the shop.
Yeah, there you
This is the Rwork UR100. They have done this watch in a lot of different iterations. This one happens to be the limited edition for collective, started by my good friend Asher Rapkin as a collecting group, and now they're a dealer, and they've done a lot of great collaborations where they have tweaked the designs ever so suddenly.
Slightly.
Sorry. I'm through that glass of bourbon, so it's kicking in. They've tweaked things ever so subtly and have always made them better.
Wow. Okay. Subtly, I think was the word he was going for, but continue, Robert.
So it's a killer watch. There's only 25 pieces. It wears beautifully. It's super modern. It looks like a spaceship. I really, really love it.
This also comes with that fabric strap, right?
I think so. You get a fabric strap with
which
it.
Is cool with the stitching and
you get the
everything.
rubber strap, and I mean it's super cool. I absolutely love it. In that vein, also super cool, also super limited. Not that anything that this guy does is like standard production, but the Bulldog from Max Busser.
Yep.
How do we still have this? Henry Lee keeps
I was going to say,
asking
Henry,
for the 6301.
sorry, buddy, we're not going to pull a $2 million watch out of the safe right now. I would love to sit here and play with it, but I don't think it's going to make an appearance right now.
Maybe
Sorry.
we'll spotlight that next week or something and actually show that
Yeah.
off. But this is killer for less than a tenth of the price. I don't know why we still have this.
I don't know either.
These are at a price point that makes so much sense to me.
Sub 100K on that watch. Like, come on, get out of here.
It says Bulldog.
It's
it
ridiculous.
says,
it's not actually
don't
technically
forget
limited,
the dog,
yeah.
beware of the
Here.
owner.
Go. We're going to go, keep going rapid fire.
So cool. All right,
Tadao
Tadao
Andao.
Andao, Japanese architect,
Yep.
of great esteem,
Renowned,
I've been
yes.
told.
So Bulgari Octo did this, and I'm trying to think of what the
The
other
moon
one
phase
was. The moon phase,
the blue one,
black
moon phase.
with the,
it's
yes,
cool.
that one's
This
cool.
is better. I love the concentric circles, the minimalism. This watch is killer to begin with. Like, I want one of these in a bad way because it's that like retro futuristic business.
Yeah, make a smaller one, and I want one too.
To do it with this dial, lovely. This is cool. These have come down a lot. Can you look at the price of this real quick while I continue to rapid fire?
Hold on,
but I love these.
Hold on.
The other brand everybody loves to hate when it comes to limited editions is one of my favorites, Panerai, because everything is limited. They number
the case backs.
everything.
Yeah.
So every one of these says like 100 out of 2,000, but they made 2,000 of this maybe more than 1 year in a row. But it doesn't matter because it's a 42 mil Sea Dweller that fits. You could even wear this with a suit. It'll go under the cuff. It's killer. It's awesome. It's Italian-ish. Italian-ish. Yeah, I mean it is, right? It's got that kind of thing.
Italian inspired.
This, I didn't even know we had this till Justin pulled this out, and it's way too big, but I love it, and I would wear this. Oh, the bezel is giving me
Don't even worry about
OCDism. This is Carbotech, I'm guessing.
It is,
right?
yeah.
Carbotech with like some wild carbon fiber
I
dial.
don't know what the deal
This
on that dial
is for Survival Instruments.
Survival Instruments?
That's what it says on the back. It
Here,
says
I'm
Survival Instruments.
I'm looking right now.
TI case back, Divers Professional, limited to 1,000 pieces. Panerai does cool stuff. Panerai does cool stuff with materials. This is a great example. I'm sure this dial is a very cool material composite kind of thing they've made. It's 47, but hey, look, I'm 7 1/4. I can wear it. It's not super thick. It works. It's great. Yeah, you and me together. Love these Panerai.
Final go. Show this guy.
All right, cool.
So JLC Reverso. This is a 1931 tribute. This is the
Ultra thin.
London edition with the green dial.
Just super duper rare.
Super classic.
How many are
super
these?
rare. I'll look it up right now. Let's see.
26.
Really?
That is limited, my friends. 26 is limited. Like, that's so small. There you go. Big Ben, Houses of Parliament, right?
Yeah, 26 pieces. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very
Beautiful
interesting.
green. This is what, 10 years old?
No, it's not that much now, I don't think. Let's see. This
was green before green was cool.
It was.
Everybody else is late to the game. Jaeger did it first. I missed my Reverso. I don't want to bend this strap because it's like brand new. I don't know if that was replacement or not, but I'm not going to bend that strap. But this is the ultra thin.
2015.
It's super
Wow,
slick.
so that's almost 10
years
years old now.
It's a 10-year-old
Jeez, that's
watch.
crazy.
You love to think I'm wrong.
No,
I love that it only says
Older than I
Reverso
think
on
I
the
am.
dial. These are the best.
Yeah,
They're
they are
so good.
amazing.
I think that's it.
JLC. Show the JLC.
The JLC. Oh yeah, deep sea alarm. This is the heritage thing, right? These are so rare because JLC made them out of paper back in the 60s. Like, they fell apart and they got wet and they were ruined. And they did this tribute. They did a chrono. They did 2 alarms. They did a US edition and a Euro
The
edition.
Euro edition, right?
These are so cool because I have held the original in my hands, and this is as close as you are going to get, and you're never going to find a bezel that looks this good because they're all missing the paint.
Honestly, yeah, I was gonna say the vintage ones, they're cool, but they're all kind of garbage.
Yeah, and they were so fragile. They were well made and everything for the standards at the time, but they just didn't hold up the way like a Rolex did because it wasn't built the same way.
359 pieces, so also super rare. You know,
Super rare, super cool. We never see these.
no. That one's coming to the site soon as well.
Jaeger always does this where they'll like make something limited, or even they won't even make it limited, but they'll like make it for a year or two and then they just quietly
Well, I was gonna
discontinue
say
it.
with JLC is always like if you don't pay attention and you don't notice it immediately when they
It's
release
gone.
it, it's gone forever,
It's
and
gone.
you can never find information about it.
2 cool Paddocks because I can't help myself.
And then we're done.
5230 for New York. They did this when they did
This
the
was
New
for
York
the-
exhibition in 2017, 2018.
Yeah, it might
It's
have been
in that
before that.
range. It's a lock stock 5230,
Yep.
except for the New York skyline.
But you can kind of see there.
Super duper subtle.
Yep.
It's really pretty. Blue in the center. It kind of looks like a platinum one, but it's white gold. I can't remember how many
2017.
they made.
And
then
300,
this
300.
Is like a 3940 that went goth. We
Well,
got a
went-
black dial.
Went goth. This went like I don't even know.
Ornamental goth? Is that
Ornamental goth. Yeah, there you go.
We've got, it's not hobnail. I can't remember what they call this, but it's like little bitty pearls. And it's got a really interesting kind of bezel on it. It's got a beaded bezel. It's got a black dial with
Got
white
the
Romans.
Romans
It's
and the
got
white hands,
sword-shaped hands. It's a standard caliber 240. This is a 5038. They made 500 of these. Paddock.
Which, similarly to Rolex, Paddock rarely does.
They rarely
very
do it.
limited
All right,
pieces.
put us
so-
to the front,
All right, yeah,
and
we're-
we'll say goodbye. We crammed them all in, just about.
I think we
as
hit
many as could.
everything on this.
We
We didn't talk about the AP.
Seiko,
We didn't talk about the Grand
talk
Seiko.
but
So we will do another limited edition hour plus. We didn't talk about that Zenith. We didn't talk about the LF.
we didn't talk about Hodinky.
We didn't talk
in
about the
general.
Tudor, the Harrods. Yeah, so we could easily fill multiple hours about limited editions.
Yeah.
We have a lot of really cool stuff. Again, thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. We missed you last week. We'll be
Yeah,
back
we did.
next week for sure. We will get YouTube working. We're working on it. So thank you guys again. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.